Many questions that only the presidency can answer. Many names flying out in the public space, looking at officers like the NSA, like the Secretary to the Government, and even the Chief of Staff, the AGF. All of these, you find them in the public domain, and many are saying perhaps the First Lady was right, even though the President doesn't think that so at that point in time. Now, for Sylvester Ewudage, before we went on break, he did say perhaps, as they say, in the street, there's hardly any smoke without a fire. Let's see if we can talk more on those stoking the fire, because we have to go back to looking at that report. We have so many key officers that should have known what that report was about without letting Mr. Magu get to the Senate on that day. We also have the man who gives advice to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, who was also there with him. So how well can things of that nature be happening? The President doesn't know, but the DSS knows. The NSA, maybe he doesn't know, but the Senate President and his men, they all knew what was happening. And perhaps Ita Enang had no idea of what was happening until it hit everyone in the face.
I don't want to agree that they didn't know. I mean, this is personal because Senator Ita Enang is too sophisticated not to be in the know. I'm also aware that the presidency was duly informed. They were briefed well ahead of time that, Mr. President, we have issues with your candidate. But they thought the actual lobby had been done. And again, that's where a lot of people have even more questions. Why do you have to lobby when there's a clear issue that borders on national security? If the Senate could use that language, that they have issues that border on national security, then it should be given serious attention. I think it would be unfair to the whole issue to want to assume that the President and his men didn't know. From interactions, even Magu and his handlers probably knew well ahead of time that all was not well, but they got some reassurances that it's fine now, the coast is clear, and they were also aware that some other critical stakeholders in the government who had sworn that never will the acting chair of the EFCC be given the opportunity of being confirmed, went to work immediately, mobilized loyalists within the Senate. Again, this is another cause for worry because the Senate is, the APC has majority.
Because if you talk about body language, if you look at the way he was looking when he left, I think he was, like shocked,
and disappointed.
Perhaps that gives meaning to what you're saying. Saying perhaps he was assured.
He was assured. I mean, he wasn't going to go. I mean, he didn't want to go because nobody wants to be messed up. He knew what was going to happen. He had an idea what was going to happen, and he didn't want to go. And then some of the president's men said, "Oh, don't worry, we've talked, and everything is fine now." But
I mean, look at it.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the face of a man so shocked and not really happy. Yeah. But in all of this, Mr. Ewudage, let's look at what this means for the fight against corruption in the country. Even both men, they are also innocent as it stands, and I'm trying to look at so many other things.
Until proven,
yes, guilty.
Trying
to look at the history back here in Nigeria. I came across only one man who was just mentioned in any very kind of unwholesome circumstance, and he threw in the towel, and that's Mr. Muiz Banire. That's the only man I've seen so far. Perhaps in your maybe journalistic journey, you could tell us if we have more names.
Yeah, but I think there was another in the very recent times.
Good.
Professor Naji, when it borders on conflict of interest, which in itself I mean, remember when he was power minister, there were allegations that companies where he had interest, and he had not relinquished that interest, those companies bidded and indeed won.
So in closing
so
here,
he had to throw in the towel. He had to leave.
Let's close the show on expectations. What will be your expectations if we can do that in less than a minute for these two gentlemen as well as the Senate?
No, for me, the Senate has taken a position. I think the Senate is relying on a report submitted to it by a government agency that many believe has been doing a lot of jobs for the current administration, for the president to be precise, when they went to Akwa Ibom Governor's Lodge, when they went after the judges, when they, went after the bureau de changes. So they've done a lot on behalf of the president, and the president has come out to, as it were, endorse their actions. So that is where it's a bit challenging to just wave aside or wave off that report submitted to the ad hoc committee by the DSS. And then it behoves of Mr. President now to address this issue. Whether he's going to address it through the NSA or he's going to address it directly, because these are individuals who are in his, as it were, kitchen.
Do you agree? Do you agree that this calls truly for their resignation as asked by the Senate?
Again, stepping aside would be honorable at this time, because I mean you cannot impose yourself on the government, on an administration, or on the people. So if for any reason they are calling it resignation, but they could say, you know what, I can step aside and allow you do a thorough job. I know I'm clean, and I mean we could have that scenario. But again, this has never really happened in Nigeria, and I doubt if that's going to be the case. But the president would eventually have to deal with the situation, because
find place for us to
if he doesn't, it's going to be even worse, because things are already bad, you know, as far as the war on corruption is concerned.
Sylvester Wadage, the editor-in-chief, National Daily Newspapers, many thanks for joining us on Politics Today. It's a wrap on the show for all those who are talking about the trending stories, the release of James Ibori, former governor of Delta State. You can catch up on many of these on our website, channelstv.com. That's our program tonight. Many thanks for being part of the show. I'm Sulaiman. Bye for now.